The views and opinions expressed on Deliberately Linked are entirely those of the host, who are completely responsible for all show content. These views and opinions are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure in any way any kind of condition, or to promote any specific lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or personal practice. Nor is the information presented deemed to be accurate or verifiable.
What is up, Deliberately Linked viewers? Lace them up and lock it in. Because on today's show, how do you know if you are maximizing your potential?
Yeah, and it's actually a very legitimate question when you think about it. I mean, I don't care where you are in life; this applies to you.
Yeah,
this does apply to you, and I don't think
everywhere.
I don't even care what age you are. The signs and symptoms of not maximizing that, or as I like to say, fulfilling that, are the same for everybody.
Okay.
Because honestly, in my mind, potential has always been a negative.
Okay, explain that too.
So, at any point in time in my life where someone says this kid's full of potential, I've always heard it this way: he has the ability, he's just not doing it. We see that he has the ability, but he's not doing it.
Okay.
So it's unfulfilled potential. So I've always thought of potential as a negative.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know
it's a
why.
different approach to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's always been that way, but that's how I look at it.
That's good.
And so when I think about maximizing potential, are you taking what is God-given, what is natural and organic gifts, and are you fulfilling those? Yeah. But I think today we're going to talk about it in a different landscape because I think people, they get so blindsided. Our listeners and viewers, you know what your potential is. A lot of people know what their potential is, and then they assume it's like a one-way street.
Yeah.
When the reality is, it can be applied in so many areas.
I like that.
And we got to make sure that we're doing that.
That's good. That's good. Mark, we all come to a point in time in our lives where things in our house need upgraded.
Oh, absolutely.
Things in our house need work
absolutely.
done. And today's show, we're actually honored to shout out a sponsor that does this type of stuff.
Yeah. When we think about our houses, we think it's our number one investment.
It is.
It's something that in most cases is always growing and improving, and obviously just adding money to your life and whatever it may be. And it's also the thing that you need to take care of the most.
Right.
It's where your family enjoys their time and holidays, and you want it to work.
Yeah.
And we've been very fortunate to team up with a company, Serenity Home Improvements. It's run by Johnny Payne.
Johnny Payne.
Great guy. And yesterday I actually got to spend some time with one of his crew leaders, John.
Okay.
And one of his little members, Tim. Just a great group of guys. Such an eye for detail. And they do a fantastic job of treating your home like theirs.
That's important.
It's very important. And as I was watching them yesterday, I kept thinking to myself, and this was not in my home. This was actually on a job site. I kept thinking to myself, these are the types of guys people want working in their homes.
For sure. That's going to respect. It's going to, if you're walking into a home and depending on the construction work you're going to do, you're going to respect their carpets and little things like that because it's easy to make a mess when you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're efficient. They're clean.
It's important.
I mean, those things are huge. I mean, this homeowner wasn't even at home at this time.
Yeah.
But I knew when they came home, they would come home, the project's completed.
Right.
And they were like, oh, I have nothing to clean up now.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a fantastic thing.
Another thing that I keep hearing through the grapevine about this company is just they're so trustworthy. Because like you said, it's oftentimes you have a team coming into your home and you might not be present at that time.
Yeah.
And so trusting the individuals that walk into your home to know that your belongings are going to be safe.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a huge part.
I don't know anybody that does not trust these guys.
For sure.
Their approval ratings through the roof. I actually have used them for myself. I did some supervisor work for my mother on one of her projects.
Yeah.
And they had a key to the house.
For sure.
And nothing but good things.
Yeah.
And it's just a fantastic company. And you know what's even great about them? It's really family owned and operated.
Right.
Johnny is the CEO and the president. But there are many times you get the treat of even being on the job site, and there's his mom, Gail.
I love it.
And she walks onto the job site, and she's there because she's supporting her son.
Hey, mama knows best.
Exactly. But she'll bring in, the crock pot of food for all the guys at lunch, and she just makes it that type of environment.
That's awesome.
And, the thing that stood out to me yesterday, we hear people review companies and they say all these great things, but what matters to me the most is how happy are the guys that are working for that guy.
Right.
And John said yesterday, he goes, I've worked at other places, I've made more money, but but I've never enjoyed waking up and looking forward to work until I worked here.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a big project, a small project, a full new build.
How do we get a hold of these guys?
Or maybe it's just, a simple room renovation. You can find Serenity Home Improvements on Facebook. You can find serenityhomeimprovements.com, or you can just call 740-390-8773.
That's it right there.
And get a hold of those guys, and they're going to treat you like family because it is a family-owned and operated company. And maybe you're lucky. Maybe you get Wonder Woman Gail to come out to your job site and bring a crock pot of something tasty too.
Can't beat that.
So we're so happy to be partnered with them. And
I mean, this time of year, it's the time to get those projects done really fast. You got families coming into town. Let's get this place looking spick and span.
And when you want to upgrade, they're the guys to upgrade.
No doubt.
They've got the expertise and they've got the experience.
Yeah, that's great.
Serenity Home Improvements.
Fantastic. Great company.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Mark, let's dive into this show. So, I mean, we kind of open it up with how do you know if you're maximizing your potential? And I think this topic can go a lot of ways. And like, really, what does it mean to maximize your potential?
Yeah, and I think the way to look at this is from the signs and symptoms of when you're not.
Okay.
I think because we can get caught up in this, I'm successful, I'm doing well, I have a nice home, I have a nice car, I've got the poster child family, we've got money in the bank, I must be fulfilling my potential.
Right.
But that's not everything.
Okay.
I think we do get caught in this society of expectations. And I've met these expectations, and so now I'm good. Now I'm going to go status quo.
Okay.
But I think that's where we're wrong. I think when you look at some of the most successful people that are also happy, they're not what we would say living up to their potential. They're living out of their potential.
I like that.
Yes. So
I like that.
they've gone from the stamp of what people put on them, and they've exceeded it. And I think one of the great ways, and we talked about this earlier, is living up to your potential is like a step ladder. Eventually you get to the top. Where living out to your potential is like being on a trampoline. You're only going to go as high as you want to jump.
Right.
So that's up to you. That's a choice that you're making. And I think for most people, they want to live out their potential. They want to maximize all of it, not for the financial gain, but for that inner fulfillment.
Okay.
I think about you a lot when we think about this. Watching you grow up, watching you check mark a lot of your goals in life. Yeah. And then I know there was dozens upon dozens of people like, oh, Josh is going to be a cop. Josh is going to be a cop. He fits the stereotype. He's got a leadership quality about him. Right. He's very detail oriented. He's in most cases fearless. This is right down his alley.
Right.
And you could have easily done that and lived up to your potential.
For sure. Yeah.
But you said, hey, I have all those skills, but I want to maximize those skills. And then you went the route of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, well, one thing I've told my wife and family friends like yourself, and I definitely don't mean this as that I'm chasing monetary things, but one thing that I've always loved about the tangible talents and abilities that God has blessed me with is that entrepreneurship doesn't put that ceiling over your head.
No.
And there are many careers out there that the ceiling is very, very high, but and more so just me speaking personally to entrepreneurship, a typical career that you might go to as a 9-to-5 or something like that, the ceiling could be very, very high, but you're eventually there's always a top point. And I'm not saying if you're in a 9-to-5, you can't maximize your potential in there. There's multiple ways to maximize your potential.
And I'm not saying that in a 9-to-5, you're not maximizing it. You maybe are.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
You maybe are.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's the aspect that I truly loved about entrepreneurship is, it's a challenge on a day-to-day basis. I love getting punched in the face and coming back even harder. Yeah. But it's me knowing that, okay, there is no ceiling above my head, and I am going to pour out every ounce of potential that I could have. And in law enforcement, I wouldn't say that was the only reason I didn't pursue law enforcement, but I think that is a huge attribute to it because God himself actually showed me, hey, I know you get told all the time this would be a great career for you, but I have another career that your potential in law enforcement is going to eventually peak, but we're going to punch that ceiling a little bit higher.
And if someone's listening to this and they're like, hey, I know exactly what you're talking about, one of the signs and symptoms we talk about not maximizing your potential is that thought of, is this all that there is? Okay. Like, I may be super happy. I may really love my job. I may really, really enjoy my job.
Yeah.
But do I ever catch myself wondering, is this all there is to life?
Right.
Is this the all-encompassing?
Yeah, how do you know?
But if you're feeling that, or if you've actually found yourself pondering that or thinking about that, then the truth is you're probably not maximizing your potential.
Yep.
And I'm not saying, hey, quit your job. I'm saying add to it.
Correct.
I'm saying if that's your case and that's your bread and butter and that's what feeds your family and that's what takes care of everything, that's fine. But you need to add to that. Potential does not have to be a one-trick pony.
No.
It doesn't mean that, okay, I'm really good at this, so I'm going to do that and only that. It means, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to seek this fulfillment in other places, in other areas. And I think so many times we get caught up in, well, I've already done it, and this is all there is.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, I think that's where a lot of people expect. There's a generation that love the whole idea of being entrepreneurs.
Yeah, we're in that generation right now.
Yeah, and they love it. And I think in some cases it's saturated. I think in some cases there's a lot of pretenders who don't understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. But I think a lot of people are enticed into that is because once you get on that entrepreneur roadway, per se, it splits in so many directions, but you never truly have to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you can go in multiple directions. I look at Visionary Meals as a great example. You have Visionary Meals, we have Visionary Athletics, and there's a dream board of other visionary things.
Yeah.
These are all ways of fulfilling the same potential in different avenues.
Yeah.
But that you never run out of rungs on that ladder.
Right.
You know, the only time you run out of the rung is when you decide to climb no more.
Right, for sure. Well,
you know,
to reiterate, guys, that Mark's talking on a fantastic point because so many individuals, they get put on a career path and they think that only that path is the only way to maximize your potential. And what Mark is saying, guys, is you can be on that career path and you can maximize your potential and you could hit a peak of your potential, but that doesn't mean you can't maximize your potential in other areas.
Correct.
That you can either serve, give back, help others, get involved in other organizations, whatever it might be, how you feel you can maximize your potential. Because a lot of your talents and abilities, only half of them could be getting utilized in that career and being like, well, I really love arts and crafts, or I really love communication. Well, go get involved in these avenues as well to maximize potential. As that
and I think I do. I look at myself. I mean, I was a very successful firefighter paramedic.
Yeah.
I have no problem saying I was very good at what I did. I worked at a legendary fire station with legendary firefighters and paramedics.
Yeah.
And I was among them. I was looked at as an equal. But I'll be the first one to tell you, I was the guy that, at the end of the day, when everything happened, I struggled so much because I identified as that guy. I allowed that potential to be that good guy to engulf all of who I was. And really, I was empty.
For sure.
Like I had nothing. I mean, and when it was taken away, I had nothing.
Right. Okay.
I mean, when you fulfill and maximize your potential, it doesn't matter what arena I put you in, what areas I take you away from, you still have that.
Right.
And I didn't have that. I mean, I struggled for years. Anybody listening to this, I struggled for years with the identity loss because that my potential in my mind and my value in my mind was stuck on right there.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens? That's gone.
Right.
It's because I wasn't maximizing those gifts that God had given me. I didn't venture out or branch out into the other areas to continue to utilize them.
Right. Well, you came to an end of firefighting. You thought, okay, that's it. Like, that I already maximized my potential.
Bro, I'm telling you, the day I graduated the academy, I was like, boom.
I made it.
Yeah. I don't have to think about anything else. I don't have to do anything else. I just be good at this and that was it.
Yeah.
I was at the top of the rung of the ladder.
Right.
I didn't think about anything else.
For sure.
And then when it's taken away, you realize, wow, I honestly had nothing the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think another on that topic, I guess more so in the family of firefighting, I think ways that we can actually be held back from our potential is individuals that you surround yourself with that don't maximize your potential.
Very true.
I mean, we've said it before, and we'll say it again. A famous quote by Maurice Claret: "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future."
Yeah.
There are multiple individuals out there that are limited to their potential because of the people that they choose to surround themselves with. And those individuals hold them back. I mean, it's like walking every day with a ball and chain on your leg, trying to reach those goals, trying to reach truly what you are capable of or truly what your heart is capable of. But you get complacent and you get comfortable maybe in the environment that you're in. And
well, not only that, then you fear. You fear what are they going to say? What are they going to think? What kind of judgment is all going to come with that? And then that stunts your ability to continue to grow your potential.
Right.
And you're right. I mean, it's a very difficult situation. I mean, what we're talking about here today is we're talking to each individual listener and viewer independently.
Yeah.
Because your potential and Susan's potential and Bill's potential, they're all different.
Yeah.
but you have to be confident in saying, I'm going to maximize and fulfill my potential,
For sure.
irregardless of what others think.
For sure.
And I think people get caught in that.
I agree. I agree. So I kind of, Mark, what do you think as far as an individual is realizing maybe how much potential that they have? Obviously we're very faith-based individuals, and I think as a viewer, as a listener, you can be like, okay, how do we know though? Like, what direction do we get? And there's multiple things I think on this avenue.
I mean, there are a ton, and you bring this up, and I teach this class at church,
right?
We talk about this all the time. We
I
teach
love
it like
this, yeah.
we talk like 4 times a year. We talk about discovering your design, and we're not breaking like any world records here, doing anything like crazy.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is we're helping people discover specifically those gifts they're given.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean
is the shape class.
Yes,
right?
that doesn't mean I'm going to tell you this is where you're best going to serve. What it means is I'm going to tell you, hey, when we put your personality assessment and everything together with your passion and your experience, these are the areas in which you're very, very strong.
Yes.
So what this does is it gives you a focus. So there's a couple things, like Lifeway does a wonderful personality assessment. You can literally just Google that. Or there's another great assessment called DISC, DISC, and it breaks down the different personalities and it gives you strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And those are things that I did. When I was lost, these are areas I went looking for guidance in. And I said, oh, okay, here's the areas of my strength. Now, how do I capitalize on those?
Right.
It takes effort, folks.
It does.
I mean, you can easily be satisfied with this is what I have, this is what I got. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can be driven.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you ultimately want to maximize your full potential and feel the fulfillment that comes with that, then you have to put in some effort and be driven to do that.
And I think that's on the fulfillment topic, Mark. I think that's a lot where we kind of touched at the beginning of the show. Individuals that have those nice homes, have those nice cars, and that's where fulfillment, where you think you're going to find fulfillment. And
Absolutely.
A lot of individuals don't find it because truly you're not glorifying the plan that God set before you.
Well, on our Bible teaches us all the time about contentment.
Correct. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, we talk about it, guys. Just to spell out a couple things for you that aligning yourself with Christ is truly, and it is what aligned me in Visionary Meals. Like that
100%.
is what found me there.
100%.
You guys have heard that story. I mean, James 1:17, every good and perfect gift is from above. Another one, Ephesians 2:20, for we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them.
Absolutely.
I think as individuals, as we're chasing that potential that we have to turn to the right place, because it's easy to turn to our buddy that is driving X car and is making X dollars and be like, hey man, how did you maximize your potential? And for all you know, they're not maximizing their potential, or for all you know, they're not reaching full fulfillment.
Well, which is another sign of not doing so, because you're unhappy in situations where society would say you should be happy.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're like, why am I not happy?
Right.
But this goes back to when we think of potential, we think of that skill and that skill alone.
Mm-hmm.
I have the potential to be a great athlete. I have the potential to be a great chef. I have the potential to be a great leader or CEO, whatever. But if you don't apply those on a platform of God, you'll never have fulfillment.
Right.
It just won't happen. You may have things.
Yeah.
You may attain things.
Yeah.
But you'll never attain what we call effortless joy.
Right.
That's what happens. I think a great story, when I was reading about this, there was a guy wrote this article, and he said he was sitting on a park bench in New York City, and he said the guy sits beside him. He said they didn't really know each other. He said we called each other perfect strangers. He said after talking for a few minutes, he realized this guy is a major CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I mean, sitting on his park bench beside him in New York City.
Right.
And there's this young man just playing the piano. And he said the CEO looks at him and he's like, basically, I'm jealous.
Okay.
And the guy's like,
what are you talking about? You have everything.
You have everything.
Yeah.
You have millions of dollars, cars, houses, vacation homes, beautiful wife, family. And he's like, because I don't have the same joy as that young man right there is getting from just playing that piano.
Yeah.
Because that young man is fulfilling a potential in an area in which he is passionate.
Right.
In which he loves.
That's cool.
And here's this guy could buy anything he wanted, and he's like, yeah, I have nothing compared to the cat over there playing the piano.
It's amazing.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's that deep-seated fulfillment.
That joy.
That joy.
That's cool.
And for those of you listening, you say, okay, joy and happiness, what's the difference? Okay, happiness is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
You can give me a Milky Way bar, and I'm going to be happy for about 30 seconds while I eat it.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not going to give me joy.
Right.
Joy cannot be taken away from you. Joy is sustainable. You keep it. You have joy even of the darkest of moments. I'm a walking testimony to that.
Mm-hmm.
You have joy there. You may not find happiness, but you have joy. So that's what we're talking about. Fulfillment of your potential, which brings that joy that no one else can touch. And it may not compute to financial gain. It definitely probably will not compute to some type of celebrity. But what you're gaining is far greater than both those things. Because and you've said it before. We all have a calling.
Yeah.
How many people are in the world?
7.some billion.
7.7 some billion people, right? Which each individual person God has placed a plan upon.
Yep.
Okay. Each individual person has been given skills, has been given gifts and blessings, and if they were to maximize those potential, the potential that they have and that was given to them, the strengths that they got at birth,
right?
It would be a much different landscape in this world, but also you would see far greater happiness and joy in the world.
You would.
And we just don't do that.
Well, you're right. It gets it's saturated, unfortunately, with individuals chasing things that they think that's going to bring them joy, and unfortunately, it's just not. That's like we've said. It's not the case. And I think a lot of it, kind of like we've touched on, it's the lack of maximizing your potential. I think is driven out of fear of failure. And
that's such a good point.
Yeah. I mean, myself starting the business, guys. Not using, I taking that ridicule from individuals when I graduated college and I didn't use my college degree. People were like, why don't you just go do something that's secure? Go get benefits, go get a secure paycheck. And if I listened to that fear that truly was deep inside me, guys, for all I know, I might be in a career that, hey, I'm getting great bennies. Hey, I'm getting great pay that my wife would probably
But you're miserable.
love, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm not happy because right now, guys, and I'll be completely transparent with you guys, Visionary Meals, we're not even a year old. We're coming up on our year here, November 25th, and I'll be completely transparent on this show with you all. Obviously, I've been busting my nuts. The company's growing exponentially. It's doing really, really well, but I'm not seeing anything from that, guys.
Financially.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything financially. And I probably won't see anything financially for a little bit longer. But I can tell you right now, the gain that I do get is the joy. Is the knowing that I am striving to maximize my potential.
Correct.
I don't think I'm doing it yet. I have a ton of growing.
But you're jumping on the trampoline.
But I'm jumping, and I'm jumping hard.
Yeah.
And I'm reaching high.
Yeah.
But I haven't maximized it yet, but I'm chasing it right now.
Well, I think if anybody really buys into this, you realize you're never going to reach your full potential. We're not designed to.
Right.
That's the thing, though. It's the grind. We talk about it on here all the time. The goal is that knowing I'm never going to reach my full potential, but the goal is I'm never going to stop trying.
Correct. Yeah.
Where when we do this, I want to live up to this X, Y, and Z, and you put the ceiling on. Then you're like, I get there. Then what's next?
Right. Yeah. And sometimes there is nothing next.
Correct.
There's not another ceiling to go through.
Correct. And I mean, we both can think of a lot of people that have either put ceilings ahead of them and they've stopped, or we can think of other people that said, there is no ceiling. I'm going to continue to go.
Yeah.
And those people that are like that, some people look at them and say, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
They do it because they're passionate about it.
Right.
They do it because the cause is bigger than them, and it's bigger than the paycheck.
I agree. I think of guys that have maximized their potential, and obviously this is an extreme because we're talking about national football. But someone that has truly maximized their potential is Tom Brady.
Oh,
everyone knows the name Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But this is a guy that was drafted in the sixth round or something like that, I believe.
Wasn't even a full-time starter his senior year at Michigan.
Yeah.
Split time with a freshman named Drew Henson that was never any good.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, by the way, Lloyd Carr, just remember, you always pulled Tom Brady in for the comeback. That's all I got to say. Cat should have been starting.
Right. And this cat has gone on to how many Super Bowls does he have now?
7
or something like that, Super Bowls.
He's 42 years old and he's still slinging the rock like it's
yeah, I mean, some people argue he's starting to slow down, which, he's 42 years old, so I could appreciate that. But this is a guy that comes to work every single day to maximize his potential. He's a national football player, guys, that has had a ton of success. His fun fact: his wife actually
makes more money than him. Yeah,
which I think
love
is
it.
hilarious.
Love it.
But he truly is the definition of being an underdog and just coming into an arena and just being the best that he could be.
Well, that makes me think of that quote from Pope John the 23rd. He said, "Consult not your fears, but your hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Think not about your frustrations, but about your unfulfilled potential."
Yeah.
And then he closes with this: "Concern yourself not with what you tried and failed in,"
Mm-hmm.
he said, "but with what it is that is still possible for you to do."
Okay, I like that.
I mean, so when you think about that, he's like, look, there's going to be failures.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be things that you've tried and they just don't work. He's like, but if your focus is left on them,
Right.
you're never going to get where you want to go.
That's a fact.
You're never going to go. And we
No.
talk about that on here a lot.
Turn the page.
We do. We talk about that here on a lot. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that rear view mirror and they're focused on the past instead of being focused on the future.
Yeah.
Use your past
For good.
to educate you for the next time you have to make a similar decision.
Right.
And that's how you do that.
Yeah.
But you touched on something earlier. You said we get into this spot of fear.
Yeah.
And that to me is a very adult topic.
Okay.
Because when we think about that, I don't know what you want to be when you're a kid. I'm sure you want to be like, NFL player or farmer.
Right. Probably.
One of those. But it's like we think about when we're kids, we all have these hopes and dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and we really don't care. And I go to my daughter's school all the time. There's kids that come to school there and they think they're dinosaurs. But you know what's crazy is everybody in their class accepts them.
Yeah.
The kid that walks in acting like a T-Rex, everybody accepts him.
Right.
And I'm not saying obviously the kid's not going to grow up to be a T-Rex, but he's got a great imagination.
For sure.
And he's got these little hopes and dreams in his little head.
So why along the line does that stop?
Because of fear.
Yeah.
Because then as they grow older,
Mhm.
judgment happens.
Mhm.
People start making comments to them. And then all those great dreams and that imagination, it all gets suppressed.
Yep.
And he locks it away and he starts doing I think I'm going to get a business degree because that would give me the benefits and the retirement.
That opens up the doors to
all
a lot of
those
things that I don't want to do.
Correct. And he's now suppressed his
Mhm.
potential. He's suppressed his willingness and his passion
Yeah.
to doing what he thinks is acceptable.
Mhm.
When people, this is what we're talking about right now. I'm telling you right now, I don't care if your hobby or your passion is woodworking, knitting, music, poetry. I don't care. Myles Garrett plays for the Browns. It's a great add into this. That cat is a 6'5", 280-pound defensive end
He's a beast.
who loves to write poetry. Good for you.
Mhm.
And I'm sure he's gotten made fun of. I'm sure people tease him.
For sure.
But good for you. And that's what I'm saying, because he's fulfilling his potential.
Yes.
He's fulfilling it in areas and ways that bring him joy.
Right.
And that's what I want people to understand. Don't become the one-trick pony in life.
Okay.
Don't think, hey, this year we maximized X amount of dollars in sales or service, or I brought that much in my paychecks, or now my retirement is set at this certain number. If I retire, I now feel secure. None of that brings you anything.
Right.
It may bring you security, but at the end of the day, you can't buy joy. You can't buy happiness. You can't buy that time with your children. You can't buy that time with your spouse.
Guys, I think this comes to a pivotal point in the show that is kind of a topic within itself, but it goes so much hand in hand of the importance of short-term goals and long-term goals. Because short-term goals, guys, are goals that you're going to strive that are very attainable, that are just around the corner. But if you don't have those long-term goals set up, if you don't, you're going to hit those short-term goals and you think you've made it. All right? But you have to have that little celebration. We were talking before the show starts. I mean, little victories and stuff like that. Having that milestone of like, hey, my potential, my skill sets, my attributes got me to this point. We're going to keep going. That trampoline.
Where can they take me?
That trampoline can go a little bit higher. And having those goals, guys, I think is so appropriate in life, not just business, not just entrepreneurship, sport, whatever it might be. Every avenue of life, guys, I think you're silly if you don't have goals written down somewhere. They need to be written down somewhere because that is what is going to help. It's the same thing as writing down a to-do list for a day or a week or whatever it might be. It's going to keep you focused to reaching and maximizing that to do.
Well, how good does it feel when you get to check mark that box?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's reach that goal. All right, but hey, I already know I got 6 miles down the road. I got another goal to reach. Let's go get it now. That's the same thing.
Well, so in high school, coach always said short-term pain, long-term gain.
Yeah.
And with my kids, I switched that. I said short-term gain, long-term pain.
For sure. No
Because
doubt.
if you're only living for the gain now, you're going to find out later that none of that was worth it.
Yeah.
Because you should have been a building block instead.
Right.
You want to be able to put in the time now, see those small successes, but realize that what your goal is much larger.
Well, Visionary Meals, we're coming up on our 1 year, and I've had a few people say, "Hey, what are you going to do for your 1 year?"
Work.
Exactly. They're like, "What kind of party?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what kind of party?" It's like, we haven't done nothing, guys.
Tell them
We
I'll
haven't
do a
done
party
nothing.
when I don't have to show up to the kitchen twice a week.
Exactly. I'll recognize the 1 year. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It's a big deal for a new company. But guys, that means nothing.
All that should mean is it's going to motivate me to continue to fulfill that potential.
And I think that's where a lot
Yeah.
of these new companies, that's why they fail within their second year, is because they get to that 1 year and that wasn't their short-term goal, that was their long-term goal, and they're like, "Hey, we made it.
Yes.
We're good. Let's kick our feet up and
Yes.
take our foot off the gas and get complacent and not stay motivated." And that's why year 2 is you see such a decline in businesses and they don't reach that year 3.
Well,
mark.
they get off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this is fine. It's company's paying for itself, and we have
Right.
X amount of customers, and so on and so forth. Guys, that data is not guaranteed.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just how it works. But I mean, I don't. If you're a mom, a dad, a student, and not even an entrepreneur, this is stuff you can apply into your life in your areas. I mean, if you sit down and just contemplate, where am I? What am I doing? Do I feel this joy? And if you say no, look at those areas that you're not and ask yourself why.
Right.
And I think for the most part is we look at potential in a fleshly way. We look at potential in an earthly success, our peers, how they would view it. And the reality is you're only limiting yourself because your potential is not earth given. It's not man made. It's God given. You need to understand that. Like your potential, it has superpowers.
Heck yeah.
Like legit, I'm talking like Superman, Batman type stuff.
Yeah.
Superpowers, the ability to have an effect on other people's souls. Those are superpowers. I mean, obviously, I don't have like laser vision or anything. I don't have like a cool grappling hook in my belt.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it is a true superpower. And that potential has power over others in a great positive way. And that's what you should be striving for.
Right.
Not that I'm going to gain anything, because I'm here to tell you, if you are living life in a fulfillment of potential mindset, all the other stuff will take care of itself.
Right.
I promise you it will.
Yeah.
Financially, you'll be fine.
Oh, my
Happiness and joy will be fine. Those things will control themselves.
It pains me when I hear a fellow business owner, entrepreneur, just anybody in the business field or the career field, they say, "Man, I see it so much," and they're like, "Hey, I'm not happy until I'm
Yeah.
making X dollars."
Oh,
And I just like,
I was that guy.
yeah,
I
mean,
was
a lot
that
of people
guy.
are.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I know, a lot of close friends of mine, that I'm just not happy. I need to make a lot of money.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Happiness does not, or money does not buy happiness. It can't.
guys, that's such an old saying, and don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, money makes life a lot easier. It does.
At times.
But it's not necessarily the answer.
No.
And
And you bring that, there are people that will chase that their whole lives. And then you'll hear the stories of the guy on his deathbed, and the best advice he gives everybody is, don't do what I did.
Right.
Because he's like, I have nothing to show for it. And they're like, no, no, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well, look at, is it Warren Buffett? Warren
Yeah.
Buffett is one of the richest,
Wealthiest people in the world, yeah.
man in the world. This dude, he's still, I heard this on another show actually, so shout out to them. But he's still living in his same home.
Yeah.
All right. Still lives in his same house that he bought, when he was 19 or younger or whatever. Drives a Buick. This is, I mean, he has billions of dollars, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
He probably wipes with $100 bills.
he might.
Yeah.
He might. But talk about an individual that he loves what he's doing and he's maximized his potential, and like people ask him.
But he's not stopped either.
Correct.
He's
yeah.
constantly trying to invest in other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the greatest level of maximizing your potential and finding fulfillment is investment in other people.
Right.
Having an effect on other people.
Yeah.
And he still does that to this day.
Yeah.
And I've yet to see him do it in a negative way. He's always
Right.
trying to be a positive way about it. It's just,
Talk about the negative part though. So how often we've kind of touched on this, and we either did before the show or on the show, I can't remember, but how often have you or I either been told this, hopefully not anymore, but or told someone this and just say, "Hey, man, you have so much potential."
yeah.
You have I almost take that in a negative way. I'm like, oh, dang, does that mean I'm not
No,
maximizing my potential right now?
And I'm telling you, I mean, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, and I know people will hear that because I'm sure they have, especially if you have children. A lot of coaches say this to parents, say it about their kids, and the parents get elated.
Yeah.
And I just always hope they don't tell my kid that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how I am. I have a lot of coaches that'll come up and give me compliments on my children, and the first thing is, don't tell them that.
Right.
Don't put that ceiling on them.
Yeah.
You know, because potential's awesome. It's a gift. It's a great thing to have and recognize.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone says, "Man, you have so much potential," that means they see that it's in there,
but it's not being utilized.
But it's not being utilized yet.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about potential of the potential.
Right.
And it's like, no, I want people to look at and say, your son or daughter or you yourself have so many great abilities.
Yes. Okay.
Because when they see the abilities, that's a visual thing. I'm watching it happen.
Okay.
When they say potential is what could be, but it's not the ability yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your child right now is, 14 years old and he's 6 foot, 185 pounds. He has the potential to be 6'4", 250.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Who cares?
That doesn't tell me anything. So you got to think about that. Your child can draw a great picture at this age. He has the potential to be a great artist.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to literally feed those areas, and you have to find the areas to do it, and you need to do it without fear.
Right.
I mean, you can't listen to the naysayers.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're passionate about it, and you have the gifts and the skills to do it, go chase it.
For sure.
And the book Visionarian, Andy Stanley wrote a great book called Visionarian. If you haven't read it, I tell you to read it.
Great book.
Especially entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, read it. Parents, it's great for you because it's a great way to apply it to your children. Obviously, your children wouldn't understand it. It's a little bit above their head. But parents, this is a great application for your children. He always says visioneering, which is visioneering,
yep.
which is the process of having visions and where your life's going to go. He says the number one thing that you're going to face is everybody's going to tell you you're crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said it'll usually be the people closest to you. You'll share your vision, and they will tell you you're crazy. So what you're telling you to do is you're going to share your potential. You're going to try to exercise this potential, and most people are like, you're crazy. Right. No, you're visioneering. You're visionizing your life and saying, this is the direction I want to go. And that's what we talk about fear and why children are so great. Children don't have that. Children are like, man, I can be anything I want to be.
I'm gonna be an astronaut.
And there's so many adults to this day that in the quiet time of their lives, they'll look back and be like, man, I had all these great hopes and dreams as a kid. Because here's the truth. Your childhood, it's not complicated. It's not. Childhood is very innocent. But the child back then, you know what he hopes for? He hopes to be the future you. Mm-hmm. The only difference is he doesn't know the future you is going to turn out to be just some business degree guy who's in a job he hates. No, he wants to be the future you with his imagination, his passion, all those things saying, I want to because I think this is amazing before the world gets a hold of him and twists them all up and throws them away.
Ruins it.
Yeah.
Ruins it.
I mean, there's many times, obviously, our kids get on our nerves, but, man, our kids are just the purest of pure.
Why limit them?
Oh.
Why limit them? And don't try to write their story for them.
No. And that's why I say encourage them. I don't care what it is. Encourage them.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this on the show. Be realistic. Mm-hmm. Be realistic in your encouragement. Don't be that positively negative person who will encourage them to the point where it's now a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Be realistic with them. Encourage them.
Yeah. Hey, guys, quick breaking point in the show. We're going to shout out Visionary Meals, of course, guys. Our number 2 sponsor for today, a healthy meal prep company, guys, doing big things, guys, out there. Visionary Meals right now preparing for the holidays for their customers. We have launched, actually, our famous Mark Ryan pumpkin cookies. People are eating them up. People are loving them, guys. It's going viral. Check social media. It's going viral. These cookies are amazing.
If it goes viral, which I think is a very good thing, I'll be shocked.
It's going viral. And, of course, we're getting ready for the Thanksgiving time. So if you are a family wanting to save a little bit of time in the kitchen, maybe just want to devote that time, making that turkey and that stuffing to make it as perfect can be, but don't want to mess with all the sides. Visionary Meals, we got you guys. So,
and also, if you want to jump on board, our 8-year-old daughter is starting a movement that Visionary Meals should be a takeout center.
Yes, let us know.
Because she doesn't want to wait. Yep. So dinner last night, she said, Daddy, all I want is chicken, rice, and Brussels sprouts, Visionary Meals. I said, honey, it's not like a Donato's. Okay, you don't just call an order. It's called food prep for a reason.
DoorDash coming soon, maybe.
Yeah, she did not comprehend that, but she was not happy. So
yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm telling you though, that's the great thing about Visionary Meals.
Right.
It services everybody.
Yeah.
You know, when an 8-year-old loves the same food that you're cooking to the fitness guru. In the best shape of their life is eating the same meals.
Right.
It's because it's that tasty.
For sure.
Honestly, it really is.
Yeah.
Anytime you walk into the kitchen, your senses and your palate, I start salivating. It's just, it's really good food.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live. So
fantastic. So
yeah, but
ending it up and wrapping the show, guys. We got, I think, like we've said a million times, we got a little bit more meat on that bone on this topic. And I think we've thrown, a lot of good avenues and different ways to think about this topic, but
I think I just want to encourage people.
Encourage and almost, how do you maximize?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
how do we
recognize
maximize truly our potential?
Yeah, recognize the signs and symptoms, and
sure.
then work to what you're saying.
Yes, and I think, Mark, that we can kind of go on a couple of these things that I personally have just, instead of just hopping on Google and be like, oh, how do you maximize your potential? And it comes up with a bunch of generic BS topics.
Yeah.
I truly sat down and I almost meditated for a little while and how can individuals maximize your potential? And one thing, actually a few things that I came up with right away that just were screaming and coming off the charts at me for individuals that don't maximize their potential is through making excuses.
Yeah.
So many individuals make excuses on why they can't maximize their potential. And I'll be honest with you, no one cares, guys, that you think you've had it hard. This life, this world doesn't care. So truly blocking off your surroundings, all right, and because using them, as an excuse will fail you. And guys, saying, oh, I didn't have it easy growing up, or X reason, this is why I can't do what I can do. No, guys, you're capable of a lot.
Excuses are a disease.
They are, and they will destroy you, and they will destroy you maximizing your potential. So I think as individuals, guys, if we can learn to stop making excuses, you're going to go a long way.
Everybody has them.
Oh, for sure.
It doesn't mean you have to give it power.
Well, this life is hard. I mean, especially, entrepreneurship, there's many reasons to make an excuse on why not to go down this route. And it truly,
I've already made all of them. That's why I don't. Yeah.
Well, there's some individuals that just aren't meant to go down this route. I mean, if you feel like you were called and your purpose is in whatever field it is, maximizing your potential will not come with making excuses.
Correct. Yeah. No, I mean, it's fantastic.
So, and then I think another one, guys, self-educating, I think is huge that we haven't really touched with on this show. Nowadays,
be informed.
There are so many resources out there.
Yeah.
There's so many resources nowadays. And on top of that is self-educating. Find yourself a mentor.
I was getting ready to I was getting ready to say that. I think so many people are intimidated by that process. And if you've gone through it and you had a bad experience, I'm sorry. It should never be a bad experience. Yeah. But don't stop. Keep looking, because that is some of the best self-education.
For sure.
Is being with somebody who's been there. They've done that. They can honestly look at you and say, I know what you're going through. Mm-hmm. Try X, Y, and Z. When this occurred to me, this is another avenue we looked at. I mean, it's priceless. Mm-hmm. It's really, and it's something you can't read about. So mentoring is fantastic. And almost every town or city has business mentorship meetings and programs. Right. I mean, they're everywhere.
And actually, guys, I want to correct myself. I said find yourself a mentor. Find yourself mentors. Okay.
Yeah, multiple ones.
Multiple mentors.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus himself he's been a fantastic mentor for me, and really just my spiritual walk, and of course, just raising a family and in my relationship walks and stuff like that. My pastor's a mentor as well for my spiritual walk.
Yeah.
I have business mentors, multiple business mentors. So find yourself a mentor, guys, because like Mark said, they've been there. They've lived it. They know what to do and what not to do.
And these are people that are going to encourage your vision, and they're going to encourage your fulfillment and maximizing of your potential. Yeah. Because they're doing it still.
Right.
They're still doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So they know the pitfalls and they know what's going to occur, and so they're going to continue to encourage you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It's a great avenue. It's a great idea. Doing it on your own, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying you're going to make life a lot harder than it needs to be.
For sure. You really, I mean, think about how many CEOs do we know that are extremely successful that put their nose in a book every day?
Well, the lady that I went through life coaching with, the lady who taught my class, most of her clientele are Fortune 500 CEOs.
Wow.
And they're still receiving active coaching from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That comes to a place in time because you do reach a place of success in your life where you have to stay humble to a degree and be like,
Correct.
I haven't made it, because the day that you stop learning is the day that I think you start dying.
Oh, absolutely.
You start dying. And then, guys, I think the last point that we've already touched on this show is making sure whatever you're doing aligns with God.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of individuals out there chase, like we've said, monetary or materialistic items, but at the end of the day, it's not necessarily finding them happiness. And like Mark touched, from myself going from law enforcement to entrepreneurship, and not only entrepreneurship, but Visionary Meals being almost a mission, almost being a direct pursuit of Christ and glorifying Him within the business itself.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of individuals, if you are strong in your faith, I think this where it can get very fuzzy, because I'll just use my wife as an example. Ashley, when she graduated college and got an offer to an amazing company that she's still with, a local bank, she was not happy.
Miserable is a good word.
Yeah, she was miserable. Because I think in her mind,
we were all miserable because she was miserable.
We had to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
But in her mind, guys, she saw, I guess, what her husband was doing. Like, I was directly glorifying God in my field, and she was like, well, that's what I want too. And just because my pursuit is a direct glorification of Christ doesn't mean her pursuit can't be a glorification in Christ within the business. And
well, she was in a position where she was not being able to use her gifts and even really stoke her potential fire.
Yeah.
She was being handcuffed.
For sure.
But to your point, I mean, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do this. You don't have to be in control of the company's direction or the company's philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do is be in a position to utilize those gifts and those strengths. And she did. She ended up transferring to a different area, now she's maximizing the gifts that she's been giving, and you can see the joy in her.
The joy is it's hands over fist, because I mean, she told me last night, she was like, I know that I'm at where I need to be, because I can already see the lives that I am impacting.
Yes.
And
which is her personality 101. You don't have to read a book to understand Ashley.
Right.
She wants to affect lives.
For sure.
I mean, she is a bright individual who just loves to spread joy. Yeah. I mean, that's just who she is. Right. And she's been that way since she was a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still who she is. So now it's great to see her in a position to do that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about someone that was not maximizing her potential, but she made a change, and that's what we all need to take away from this.
She was making money. She's paying her bills. Yep. She's going to work every day. She's looked at as successful. She was miserable.
Yeah.
She was miserable.
But making that change.
Yeah, she kicked the fear aside. She kicked the fear aside, said, this is what I'm going to do, and then she did it. And imagine the stress reliever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now to say I enjoy going to work.
Well, it's funny, like on that topic, because the reason I share this with you guys, because I'm sure a lot of us have been there. When she wanted to leave either internally or externally that position, she obviously applied to multiple places, and she got this internal position that she wanted, because she wanted to stay with the company. She loves the company. She loves what it's about. And then a week later, not even a week later, she had all these external places calling her back. Hey, we want you. We want you. And she's like, nope, I know where I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. I'm going to leave you guys with this quote. It's from Les Brown. He's a motivational guru. And he says, the richest place in the world isn't the bank. It's the cemetery. Yeah. Because it is where many people leave their unused gifts and talents behind. Don't be that person. Maximize your time. Maximize your motivation. Maximize your potential. If you're on a ladder right now, get rid of the ladder and invest in a trampoline. Be in control. Be in control of where you're going to go.
Right.
Okay? And then ignore everybody else. If this is your vision, if this is you feel where God has placed you and the effect that you can have, let that be the only encouragement that you need.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's a great quote. And I love the trampoline analogy. That's good. He had to find that on Google somewhere.
He's crazy.
No, that's good, guys. I mean, that's it. Stop. Everyone, get rid of that ceiling above you.
Yeah.
And go reach that potential, because Mark and I, we obviously believe in all of you.
Absolutely. And I want the best for everybody. I'm not the guy that wants to be at the top of the pedestal and look down at everybody. I want everybody to be up there with me.
And just so you guys know, Mark and I are still learning to maximize
every day.
every single
every day. This message is as much for me as it is for anybody else.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. When you sent it to me, I was like, I need to educate myself on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am not an expert.
I think Deliberately Linked, guys, we have no desire to come on this show and appear as experts. We definitely don't plan on that ever. But what we do is we use life experiences, we use life worries and stresses, and then you gain topics from that, and then we share the things that we're dealing with everybody. Yeah. And with the idea that most people can relate, and most people are probably going through the same things. And then we add in some of our experiences to help others. Maybe you're in a different time than where we were years ago, or maybe you're in a position where we want to go, and we want to do life together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make everybody else's life easier.
Heck
so, yeah.
That's why we're here. That's good. So, Mark, we obviously wouldn't be here, though, if it wasn't for the one and only Tip Hat Media.
Tip Hat Media. Yeah, absolutely.
So Tip Hat Media, again, we're going to shout them out real quick, guys, because we know we're pushing your time. But again, Lincoln Meikle has been fantastic for Deliberately Linked. He has put us out there on platforms that many of you are listening on and many ears are hearing, guys. Every week we get analytics back of how much, how many viewers, we have. And guys, we can't thank you guys obviously enough for that. You guys keep us motivated to keep bringing you guys the best content ever. And that's why there's rumbles in the jungle of, man, have you heard that Deliberately Linked stuff? Because we truly strive to bring you guys the best content, and we could not do that with Tip Hat Media. So talk about a content creator, talk about a producer that is the best of the best. You need it, guys. We've said it before. If you photography, videography, whatever it might be, you have a video that you just want him to chop up for you real quick, send it his way, guys. He's going to make it the best product ever.
Yeah, you can find him on Instagram, tiphatmedia.com. I think he's on everything at this point. But yeah, Lincoln Meikle, couldn't say enough about him. We're so thankful. We're so thankful for all our sponsors. Serenity Home Improvements, Johnny Payne, Visionary Meals is fantastic. And I'm telling you, if you're looking for a healthier lifestyle, that's the way to go. And then, of course, the guy that makes us sound good and look good, and that's Lincoln Meikle and Tip Hat Media. So we appreciate him.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, hey, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in to Deliberately Linked. Just another quick reminder, we are on just about every platform out there: iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
So find us on whatever platform you prefer. Shoot us that subscribe guys. That kind of shows us, that you guys are kind of liking what we're bringing. If you're not liking what we're bringing, maybe leave us a comment. Shoot us an email.
Please do.
Deliberatelylinked@gmail.com. Let us know maybe what you would like to hear. We keep receiving some topic ideas, guys. So if you have sent us one and you're like, hey, why haven't they said my topic or brought it up yet? We are storing those away, guys, and we're going to bring them out in an appropriate time. So we appreciate you guys sending those in. And like I said, if you have more, send them in for us. But again, hit that subscribe button. You will know when our next podcast launches every Wednesday. So thanks, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Have a great day.